everyone, and welcome to On the Way Up. My name is Vic, and I'll have the great pleasure of co-hosting this fourth edition with Frank.
Hello, Vic. It's a shared pleasure. Hello to all. Hello to all our community of suppliers, customers, shareholders, employees. Thank you for joining us, and thank you also for you who are here today in the audience, and thank you for joining us, also you who are watching online today on the Way Up.
Absolutely, a big welcome to you to this venue that is not chosen by chance. On this beautiful day in Nantes, we are at the University of Nantes in a former industrial site that has been reconverted into an innovation hub where academia, research, business all meet to find new ways to go up, 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 and this is exactly what we will go through today.
You're right, absolutely. And we are not alone today. As usual, we have our main sponsors of this annual event, our President and CEO, Michel Denis, and our Vice President, CSR, Aude Brezac. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you, Frank, and hello to you all. I'm so happy to welcome each of you to the fourth edition of this annual event. And the teams have put in a lot of work to present the accomplishment of Manitou Group, and I hope it will be stimulating and useful for everybody.
Thank you, Michel.
Hello to all. It's a pleasure to be with you today to share our joys and struggles around sustainability. You will see, not just at Manitou, but across the value chain. So what I hope is that it will prompt many questions, many comments, and that we can continue this conversation long after this program.
Thanks, Aude. It's true that the purpose of this event to foster these critical conversations around sustainability, especially in the handling industry. And beyond our guests who will be presenting here, we'd also love to know what's up with you. And I think it's time for the first question to our audience. So for those of you who are here, pick up your phones. And for those of you watching on screen, you have a tab on the right of the video. Click on Tag Cloud and give us your answer. How do you feel when you think about the world in 10 years? Before we start the conversations, we'd like everybody to kind of put yourselves in the right state of mind. So go ahead and type in one word, how do you feel? And we'll all compose a word cloud together. And as you're doing that, we will be answering this same question with our guests. Michel,
Yes,
you are leading a global company that is present in more than 30 countries. How do you feel about the world in 10 years?
At Manitou Group, you know, the world, the long term at Manitou Group is what we think every day, because the lifetime of our machine is much over 10 years. So when I think about Manitou Group, I'm both confident and I'm concerned. I'm confident because we have very strong pillars. We have grown from the past year. We have invested in our capacities. We have invested in R&D, in the range of product, in low emission product. We have innovated. We have inaugurated industrial equipment in the US, invested in India, in Italy, in France. We have prepared the future with many people joining the company and creating this value. In the meantime, I'm concerned. I'm concerned because thinking about long stakes that we have in front of us, how can we accelerate decarbonization? How can we take into account scarcity of resources? How do we take into account the evolution of the economy that is in front of us? How can we make the company every day more and more sustainable, durable? So those are long stakes that we have to address right now.
Many questions, and your words, Michel, were concerned and at the same time confident. Let's see what our audience has replied if we have the results that we can see on screen.
So as you can see, the main words that stand out are worried and anxious. So not really a good news, but we will try today to better understand this complex world, and let's continue in a good way. Thank you for voting.
Absolutely, we see a very good I guess, balance of blue and red being hot and anxious, and the blue being hopeful. And certainly the unknown is or can be paralyzing, it can be exhilarating, and that's why we want to know more about what the world will look like, what do we know and what do we not yet know about the world in 10 years. And we'll do it just now with a meetup with our guest speaker, Frank.
Yes, exactly. Our guest today is Virginie Resson-Victor. Virginie is the president of a regional group of climate experts. She's an author specializing in geopolitics and global trends, and her job is to analyze future scenarios and to help us better understand and anticipate them. Virginie, please join us. Thank you for accepting our invitation, Virginie.
Very happy to be here.
So, Virginie, you spend all your time on research. How could you help us to better understand the world in 10 years?
Well, to tell you the truth, I have no idea of what the world will look like in 10 years' time. But what I know, what science and history tell us already, and what they tell us is that our economy and even more our industrial civilization is now on the verge of tipping over under the combined effect of several major trends that are both unprecedented and irreversible.
Can you tell us more about these megatrends?
So, from a historical and a civilization point of view, I would quote three major trends because they're probably the most disruptive. The first one, of course, is climate change, together with the decline in biodiversity, because they are changing the very condition under which the Earth has been and will be habitable for species and for humanity. And of course, this profound change in our environment already raises several key issues, critical issues, such as the life condition, health issues, food production, and globally the capacity of humanity to adapt to this new environment. Then the second trend I can raise is the depletion of resources, whether freshwater, arable land, fossil fuel, and minerals. More generally, what it shows is how the planetary boundaries are being exceeded, which in turn also entails two major critical issues such as pollution, severe shortages, and finally maybe the failure of human development. And then I would mention a third trend, which is the acceleration of the technological revolution and the digital revolution. If you look at them from a historical point of view, they're still new revolution, new trends, but they are already raising several major issues. First of all, this issue includes the redeployment of risk because of the rising number of cyber attacks, for example, or the development of spy program. And then another issue comes with the development of artificial intelligence that raise also big issues, ethical issues. What is the place of man? Its specificity, its own intelligence, and above all, its capacity to keep control over this evolution. So, with this that's it for these three disruptive major trends. And what is interesting with those is this. First of all, it is striking to see how, by amplifying each other, they lead humanity towards a greater level of uncertainty. A second point is, interesting point, is how they redefine the attribute of power and therefore the global geopolitical order. And last and finally, what is striking as well is how all three of them bring us back to the base of our civilization, how they challenge our vision of progress, how they challenge our model of development and a very utilitarian relation with nature.
Thank you, Virginie. So you mentioned climate change, depletion of resources, acceleration of digital revolutions. What are their impacts on the relationship between states?
So the rising issue we need to understand now when you're a company, for instance, the key issue because they determine this world balance of power and the geopolitical race. Here again, I would mention three of them. First of all, the availability, access, and price of minerals due to the energy transition and the technological development. Because both revolution, both transition, strongly increase the demand for cables, for magnets, for semiconductor, and for the metal, the mineral that are needed to make these electronic components. And the point is that today, a very small number of states have taken control over the production of these critical minerals. So that's a first issue. Then a second issue relates to the availability, access, and price of fresh water. Because water today is not only needed for food production, for energy production, it is also greatly needed for, again, the digital revolution and the energy transition. And due to climate change and to the rising issue of water stress worldwide, this is very likely that in the coming years, we see more and more conflict over the sharing and over the use of water, but also over the control of rivers or the control of aquifers. And now, a third major challenge is the new predominance of infrastructure and of networks. These networks and infrastructure that underpin the increasingly complex functioning of our societies, of our economies. And here again, it is really striking to see how a small number, very few actors, private, public, individual, can now take control over the world trade or world communication simply by monitoring specific piece of infrastructure or networks. And what these three issues together tell us about the balance of power, as you were asking, is that now the true power lies with those who can control both, who can control energy production and distribution, data collection, storage and treatment, and finally, key segment of the international value chain. And this is actually the reason why a new aspiration for sovereignty is now emerging among states, reversing actually a 50 years old period during which this sovereignty concept had been eroded by international division of labor, by the globalization of trade, or by the regional agreements development, the development of regional agreements.
Thank you, very instructive. You mentioned the access of minerals, fresh water, the control of the value chain. As an industry, as Manitou Group, how can we deal with this evolution?
Well, first, what emerged first and foremost is the greater uncertainty is the more important it is for companies to focus on their resilience, which means their capacity to adapt and to bounce back. And to achieve this, there are several levers that can help. Of course, research and development, but not only. Also biomimicry, the diversity of teams. It can be local anchor. It can be the use of collective or organization intelligence. So there are quite many levers that can be used. Another important, as actually many companies do already, and as Manitou Group has started and is doing, another important point is to develop mapping of the risk under which to which the companies are exposed. According to their environment, to their activities, of course, and to their supply dependencies. Because this is only with this ranking, by measuring this non-risk and by ranking them, that it becomes possible to first delimit a field of acceptable uncertainty, and then to ground strategic choices, and eventually as well to develop cooperation or partnership to face this risk and to and these challenges with other partners. Then there is a third option that may emerge from this mapping, this detailed mapping I was mentioning, is the need to branch off, which means to change processes or activities, or even sometime, eventually, to give up some segments of activity, of business. And of course, the difficulty lies in taking the right choice at the right moment, before the cost is socially or economically too high. And on this very point, I can give you an example, because it's quite emblematic. And this example is the example of the tires company Michelin, which has already moved its business model towards economy of functionality. And what is interesting in that example is that not only they increase the margin, but also they increase the lifetime of a tire, and finally, they reduce the cost per kilometer for consumer just by switching the sale of tire to the sale of kilometers travel.
Thank you, Virginie. Thank you very much for your precious insight. That makes totally sense regarding what Michel said about the urgency, about long-term stakes. Thank you very much. Thank you, Virginie.
So we see tectonic shifts, reversing trends, and all of this is no laughing matter for a global company like Manitou Group. So how is Manitou handling these challenges of climate, of energy, of resources? It's time for a quick catch-up. A catch-up with Aude. Aude, you are in charge of CSR. What is new on the CSR front?
Recently, what we've seen is a huge shift in the expectation. And in Manitou, we see that mainly from the younger generation, but also candidates and employees. Concretely, what we see, for example, is in recruitment interviews. Our managers today are constantly questioned about CSR practices of the company. And we see that in every domain, like logistics, IT, and it's even more important for the younger generation. We have a video today that illustrates this shift.
Yes, a student called Mathilde who is representing others. Let's hear what she has to say.
Hello everybody, thank you for giving me the floor. We are a generation that grew up knowing fully well that the environment was in danger. A generation that, even before finishing our studies, understand that the coming year will be decisive. I do not want to work for companies that engage in greenwashing but change nothing fundamentally. The time for grand speeches followed by no action is over. Marketing the transition without real commitment is culpable cynicism. Companies must change their model, adapt some of their activities, and abandon others. A company that meets its commitment in France but pollutes on the other side of the world does not earn my respect and does not deserve my involvement. I fear the future, but I am motivated to participate in changing the world in my own way. And I want a company that encourages, supports, and especially challenges me.
Wow, these are very tough words.
Yes. When it comes to sustainability, as you can see, it can generate different kind of emotion or feelings. It could be fatalism, it could be eco-anxiety, or on the contrary, it could be great motivation to take action in the company. And at Manitou, what we want is to have and keep this motivation inside the company to allow everyone to take action.
How do you encourage them?
First, we started with partnering with universities and engaging with students on HR programs. And more recently, we are also engaging on inclusivity programs for need-based scholarship. And we are doing all that to prepare the workforce of tomorrow. For our own employees, what we really encourage for those who don't really see the impact in their job or their meaning, we encourage them to wear the CSR glasses and see things differently in their job to have the most important contribution.
I like the CSR glasses. Beyond just changing the mindset, what do you do to inject the CSR into every profession, every domain at your company?
Yeah. We are doing different things. The two new ones this year is first CSR objective for all managers in the company. So it's part of the KPIs and their bonuses depends on it. Second, it's upskilling. So, for example, we are deploying a climate awareness education program. So, as of this year, we have trained more than 700 employees in the group, and the objective is to train everyone by 2025. We have now more than 30 voluntary climate ambassadors in the company who help to deploy this climate awareness everywhere. And you know, what we observe now from this kind of training is that people question more and more our practices, and they are more motivated to take action. And then we have two other things that we continue to work on. It's our CSR communities. We have a CSR network of leaders. It's part of their job, and their action is to deploy action plan in the company. And for this year, 2024, the objective is to deploy that locally at the international level. And the last one that we already discussed last year is that we are also creating 100% CSR roles in some domains. We did that, for example, for finance, for purchasing, and more recently we did that in the Manitou unit, services, and we have with us today Joris, who will illustrate that.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. Then Joris is in the audience. Please join us, Joris. Can use your microphone. Hello, Joris.
Hi, everyone.
Joris, you joined Manitou Group a year ago as a PhD student at Centrale Supélec, one of the best engineering universities in France. Tell us in a few words what you're doing.
Sure. I conduct research to improve the end-of-life treatments of EV vehicles, and I also try to understand what the main barriers to the circular economy are in the EV duty machinery sector and how to tackle some of them.
As an external expert of circular economy, what do you observe at Manitou Group?
Circular economy is about extending the life of materials by reusing or recycling them. In that regard, I observe concerning lack of data at Manitou. For example, we currently don't know what is the real lifetime of machines. And this is a problem for circular economy because it's hard to improve what we don't measure. On a brighter note, I have also observed in this company an increasing number of circular activities. Components from manufacturing, retrofit projects, recycled steel purchased are part of this approach. So honestly, I'm positively impressed by the importance given to the circular economy at Manitou. It's one of the main focuses of the CSR roadmap. More and more projects and jobs, including mine, are related to circular economy. And among the employees that I interviewed last year, lots of them were really interested in the topic as well. However, there is still work to be done to transform this growing interest into a concrete improvement of circular economy, to move from circular activities to a genuine circular business. And that's why I'm really excited to be part of this journey with you. I think that together we can make a big difference.
Thank you very much, Joris, and thank you so much for helping us to work on this topic.
Thank you.
Speaking of circularity, let's talk about recycling. And we have another question for the audience. You here and you on your screens, you have another question about the amount of steel, the recycled steel that is used in the machines, because this is one of the most important materials in the production today. So you have 4 options. For those of you watching online, it's just on the right of the video. Click and we'll get back to the results. In the meantime, Aude, perhaps you can tell us a little bit more about what it means to recycle. How do you acquire recycled steel? What are the different kinds of it and how does it work?
Yeah. Using recycled materials is good. It's good for obviously resources and circularity, but it's also good for limiting CO2 emission. So what does it mean for us at Manitou? It means that today we have to explore new kinds of data. For example, for recycled steel, we have to work with our suppliers, for example, on the quality of the recycled steel, but also, and it's very important, to look at the emission factor of the recycled steel. And this depends on the production site of the recycled steel, but also the way of the production cycle of the recycled steel.
Exactly. So it's not enough to recycle. There you have to look at the different aspects of the recycled
Yes,
material.
with our suppliers.
And let's see if we have the results of the quiz. Aha. So most of you say it's 18%. It's a little bit balanced. No. The most of you say that it's 32%. 40% of the people thought that it was 32%. And then the rest is kind of shared between 12 and 18. 18 being the right answer, correct?
Yes, 18 is the right answer, so we are almost at 32%. So today it's 18%, and we are working very hard to increase this capacity.
Okay, well, good luck on that. And Frank, we spoke about upstream. How about downstream? Do you have some examples to share?
Exactly, Vic. We have a specific example from Norway. One dealer, its name is Hesselberg. Hesselberg is one of the leading machine suppliers in Scandinavia. He has been evolving in a highly regulated environment. In the next video, Tord Vetter will explain us some examples from Oslo to illustrate what we can expect from governments in other countries. Let's hear it.
Hello everyone. At Hesselberg we have been working with the low carbon solutions since 2017, and we sold the first rotative telehandlers with B-Energy in 2018. This was driven by significant pressure from the municipality of Oslo, where construction represents the third largest emission source of greenhouse gases. Today, Norway is at the forefront of creating emission-free construction sites, actively working on developing zero-emission solutions and new technologies. One of the world's first emission-free development projects started in Oslo in 2019, where the Olav V Street, a former turnaround zone for Oslo's taxis, was transformed into a spacious pedestrian street by using exclusively electric excavators, trucks and wheel loaders. By 2025, in 6 months, the municipality requires that every municipal construction project has to be emission-free, and by 2030 to have all construction projects emission-free. This plan has required a huge replacement of machines, also Manitou electric telehandlers, trucks, wheel loaders and aerial work platforms. Other Norwegian cities such as Bergen, Trondheim and Stavanger have also set ambitious targets for reducing their carbon footprint through measures like construction sites, improved public transport, energy efficiency of buildings and expansion of green areas. To meet the climate goals of the 2015 Paris Agreement, every effort counts. The construction industry has a critical role to play in enabling this transition, and we can only do it by working together.
Thanks, Thor. Michel, I'm sure you have a comment about this kind of regulation.
Yes, thanks, Thor. Hesselberg is part of our global network of dealers, and they are doing an outstanding job in Norway. We all know that the Nordic area has always been a pioneer in terms of initiative, in terms of sustainable actions, and I think this is very inspiring, and we have to work also with all our dealer network we have all over the world to work toward those directions presented by Hesselberg.
Totally agree. Thank you, Michel.
On your journey to sustainability, Aude, what challenges, what big milestones are there coming up?
The main challenge is that we are growing. So we need to keep up and to reinforce CSR action. And to do that, we need to embed CO2 in all mindset and all investment decision. And we are working on it at Manitou. We are working on integrated reporting, financial, not financial, extra financial, and to have some carbon in the management KPI. So that's for CO2. And beyond CO2, we need more and more to take less and less resources because we have no choice. Virginie said earlier, scarcity of resources will be exacerbated by the energy transition. So we are already looking for alternative solutions. For example, it could be working with suppliers in Europe for lithium. It could be circularity. It could be substitute metals. We don't have yet all the solution, but we are working on it.
Thank you so much, Aude. And Michel, how will you be addressing all these big challenges that remain to tackle?
Yeah, we have big challenges. We have to transform. And we created at Manitou Group a position of Chief of Transformation. And Hervé Rocher took that position. He knows very well the company for years, and he knows very well all the stakeholders of the company.
Thank you, Michel. And Hervé will be talking to us next. So let's move up to the part on transformation. Welcome, Hervé. It's so good to have you back.
Hello, Vic. Hello, Vic. Hello, everybody. Nice to be here.
Yes, so we've been talking about all the challenges. You have been appointed Chief Transformation Officer as of January in this year. It's brand new. What is your vision of the transformation that you are heading towards?
The vision is urgency. Urgency, and we have to look beyond the horizon, which we are not used today, and we look also to deliver short-term results. So by looking beyond the horizon, that means that today we need to start to dare to launch initiatives which only occur in 10, 15, 20 years. That's completely new. And at the same time, we can't only be looking forward. We have to be in the present. And in the present, we need to accelerate all the actions, all the transformation that are ongoing. We need to eliminate some roadblocks to open new initiatives in many directions. So when we are looking also facing such level of challenge, it's obvious that we can't have result only by our own. We have to liaise with stakeholders, with partners, in order to be stronger and to rethink all what we are doing.
And that's part of what we're doing today.
Absolutely.
What does it mean, this urgency and the transformation that you go to your company, to Manitou Group?
For an industrial company, Manitou Group, that means first of all to rethink the product. The product should use, it has been already mentioned, scarcity of resources, less materials, for sure. Recycled materials, that's something which is very, very important. We need to extend their utilization, the duration of their life. That's really rethinking the product. We need introducing electric product, hydrogen product. But we need also to change, Joris mentioned it, the usage of the product, to have a total different approach in order that they last much longer time. And to do so, we won't be able to do so if it's not supported also by a digital support. So transforming the product, transforming the usage will bring us with a much more resilient company. A resilient, the one which has been highlighted by Virginie Resson earlier, and also a far less impacting company in our environment.
We wish you that.
In the meantime, Hervé, we advance on our current strategic plan, New Horizon 2025. Do you have a comment to say about that?
Yes, Frank, we are doing many progress on that roadmap. For example, since the beginning of this roadmap, we have reduced by 25% the percentage of plastic that we are using in the packaging of our spare parts. We're also working with partners, suppliers. 63% of our suppliers today are quoted based on CSR criteria, such as our dealers. Today, it's 85% of our dealers which are assessed through CSR criteria. So it's a very good result. We are proud of it, and we still have many others to deploy.
Great figures, thank you, Hervé. However, we are facing some frustration as on our low carbon pathway. Isn't it right?
Absolutely, because the most impacting activity for us, continuing our business, is the CO2 emission. We have designed a low carbon trajectory, which is validated by the SBTi, and we are on that journey to reduce the impact. As of today, we are not completely at the expected target. Moving from diesel energy to electric, it's a new world. We are on a learning curve. That means that it's also a complete ecosystem which has to be developed. And it takes much more time for us to acquire this knowledge, to experiment, and to ramp up all those activities. But nevertheless, I'm very confident that we will strongly accelerate in the coming years.
Let's keep confidence. So we say that it's not so easy, but we have also other transformation challenges to tackle. What are they?
Yes, transformation is every day. Every day there are new challenges which are coming. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, nobody was talking really, as we are doing today, of the AI. AI is coming. We should embed that in our journey, change plan. Okay. The competition is fierce. There are more and more actors, and the actors are putting a lot of pressure on price, which could create some difficulty for new energy products. But we've got also a bunch of regulation everywhere in the world, segregation, regulation, which make business more complicated and development of new activities much more difficult to achieve. But nevertheless, we should stay on course and continue to deliver.
Thank you, Hervé, for this message.
And to deliver, what will be the key success factors? What will make the difference?
So, key success factor for a company like Manitou would be, first of all, we say, this is a technology with new kind of product, and also the digital. Technology, digital, eco-design. Really, we've got many improvements in that area. But more above all that, these are the people. The people are really the key transformers. All what we are doing will be based on people. If I'm looking just 5 years behind me, I would never have imagined that the level of understanding, the level of awareness, the level of engagement of our people, of our community, is at the level it is today. And that's the result of the confidence we have given to some people in order to launch initiative, and also in the empowerment that we are deploying in the group to support them.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Hervé. And as we said, the bigger the challenge, the more important the team. So we'll be talking in our last segment about collaboration across the value chain. And this is Rallying Up. Michel, collaboration is nothing new for Manitou Group. I imagine. What is different today?
Yeah, collaboration is in our DNA as an assembler. We have been collaborating with suppliers, with partners, co-developing, innovating more than ever, as we just said, on new technologies, on electric technology for our machine. More than ever, we are collaborating with all the value chain to launch, for example, the rotative telehandler, 100% electric at the end of last year, to develop a fixed telehandler 625 that will be launched in the market at the end of this year. We even invested and bought a battery manufacturer to be able to propose efficient solutions to our customers. Collaboration could be also in solutions and looking at the future. For example, we, with a customer, Kiluto rental company, we co-invested and we collaborated to retrofit the machine, to prepare a complete retrofit after the first life of the machine, to give the machine 100% electric, decarbonized, second life for the long term. Another example could be the Association of Sustainable Material Equipment, Comité des Acteurs du Matériel Durable, that has been just created by all the construction sector this year in France, that we join this year. So definitely collaboration in all directions is key.
And we are very proud, Michel, to belong to this new community of sustainable equipment players. A few days ago, I had the pleasure to meet François Renaud, Managing Director of this new community.
Hello Frank. The CND, Communauté des Acteurs du Matériel Durable, is an association of companies committed to the decarbonization of construction equipment fleets. The 10 founding companies decided to pool their know-how, their skills and their resources into a think, do, tank. The purpose is to break down the barrier between suppliers, rental companies and construction companies, and we plan to welcome energy companies in our community.
Why is it necessary to involve the entire construction equipment value chain?
We have to work all together on the two fundamental topics. The first, the technical approach. involves to work on our data, ensuring technical monitoring. For example, the effectiveness of the batteries will increase in the near future. We have to work all together, for example, on retrofitting. This should be a part of the solution. Second, the financial approach. It is necessary to monitor the cost of raw materials. The prices of fuel, batteries and electricity will change over time. Each year, the financial equation must be written for each sector in a TCO approach. In the same time, we have to work all together and with administration on regulation.
All right, and what are the main guidelines?
Provide concrete solutions, build a solid base of knowledge, increase the visibility of the sector, defend alongside the federations the sustainable industry, and at the end carry out a common ambition for the decarbonization of the sector.
François, I'm pretty sure you guessed my last question. Why joining the CMD?
Benefit from a collective work that is more in-depth and shared than individual work. Participate in a large action of synchronization and acceleration with all the stakeholders, and at the end, co-develop and implement a common roadmap for decarbonization of the sector.
François, for your testimonial, that's a typical example of great cooperation across the value chain. Long life to the CMD.
Aha, looks like it's the time for our last question. So to the audience, pick up your phones, head to the tab to vote. The last question is, now that we've heard what Manitou is doing to collaborate, who are you working with on your sustainability actions? You have 4 options: customers, clients, investors, employees. Let us know who are the stakeholders that you're working with. We'll return to the results in a little bit. And in the meantime, Frank, do you have any other collaborative projects that you'd like to share?
Yes, we have a few other successful projects to highlight. And at Manitou Group, nothing more to speak with that with Julien Vechter, our VP R&D at Manitou Group. Welcome, Julien.
Hello, Frank. It's good to be back to this great event.
Great to see you again. Julien, several promising projects are in progress with our stakeholders. If you had to highlight 1 or 2, what would they be?
Yeah, absolutely. Together, I would like to talk to you about 2 tremendous projects we have in our R&D program: hydrogen-powered product on one end and eco-design on the other end. Let's talk first about hydrogen. As you know, there's a huge potential for this new kind of energy. And at Manitou, we have been very pioneer because we are bringing our second demonstrator prototype in the field of operation this year. But what we see is that the pace is not going fast enough. We see that the infrastructure and the regulation are not going so fast. Therefore, we took the decision in March of this year to with our partner from France Hydrogen, more than 450 members, to really write and sign a paper to call the authority. We have provided this to the French authority to push to make some proposal for regulation to be set up. And it's not only a French topic, because the same is going alongside in Europe and in the world. We need to go faster on this aspect. And this is really the main message I would like to provide. This is an ecosystem topic in which we must advance all together, all the partners, to make it concrete. And if I had to have one last message regarding this matter here to the audience, it's join on us, push on this topic, because we want to make hydrogen a reality.
Thank you, Julien. What about the eco-design?
Yeah, eco-design is another topic we started 1.5 years ago, and we are also very proud because we want to really revolutionize our core processes of designing. If I take the example of our tremendous cabin, you know, they are inside very complex plastic parts. And we have been challenging ourselves together with our supplier. What have we done? We have improved really the recyclability rate of plastic. On one end. Second initiative, we have decided to also go to lightweight design. What does that mean? Less resources use, but still keeping the good quality, the good attractivity of our product, which is famous for that. And last, we have also taken the advantage, integrating our suppliers, cutting edge process technology. And I have to say that the teams have provided a great result. Overall, for this first project, we will reduce by 2% of the CO2 emission for the manufacturing side on one end, and by 5% in addition to all the energy transition electric hydrogen in use. So this is really a tremendous result. And I have to say, I'm also very proud to see that it's not adding some cost, it's also cost efficient, which is also very important for our customer. And to sum up it, this is only the beginning. No, we want to scale up, we want to ramp up on this initiative. We had more than 30 ideas that we want to dig in about process, about material, about sobriety. For us, it's only a beginning, if I can say. And to wrap it up, I would say on this matter, we're on the way up.
Can't wait to see the next steps, Julien. Thank you very much. I hope this sparks a new interest with our suppliers and partners as well.
Yeah, let's keep in touch.
Thank you.
We've been talking, thank you, Julien, about the R&D efforts within Manitou and the two current projects, so hydrogen and eco-design. Frank, I believe you have other examples of projects driven by your partners.
Yes, exactly, Vic. We have two other examples of decarbonization from our partners. One way to advance our industry toward less carbon and more sustainability is innovation. We will talk about it with Huy Nguyen, with Sales Director Europe from SSAB. Please join us on stage. Hello.
Hello, Frank. Hello, everyone.
Hello, Huy. Good to see you today.
Good to see you too.
This year, SSAB signed with Manitou Group to provide us fossil-free steel. It's really great, exciting news. Can you tell us more? Why is it so important, innovation in the steel-making activity?
Yes, one number, 7%. So the steel industry represents 7% of the global CO2 emission in the world, with a global consumption of 1.8 billion tons. That's a lot. And it's not going to be better. Because so in the next 30 years, so the steel demand might increase of 60%. And therefore, in order to limit so the CO2 emission in the steel industry, all the producers need to take initiative and to change their processes for making steel. And one way to do that is to produce steel with scrap-based material, what SSAB has done in 2023 with SSAB Zero. SSAB Zero is made with recycled material and produced with green hydrogen and biogas. But as you can see on the screen, so recycling will not be enough to fulfill so the future demands.
Thank you, Huy. A few years ago, SSAB launched a breakthrough technology. Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, indeed. So 6 years ago, so we launched a fantastic project called Hybrid for hydrogen breakthrough iron making technology in order to produce fossil-free steel. It's a joint venture initiative between 3 companies, LKAB, the major Swedish mining company, Vattenfall, so the energy provider in Sweden, and SSAB. Instead of using so the traditional way of making steel with coking coal, so we will use green hydrogen to produce emission-free steel with virgin material. This is unique in the world.
And what's the next step?
So also, so in 2020, so we have launched a hybrid pilot plant in Luleå, northern Sweden, in order to develop and to learn more about the product. And so we have already delivered 1,000 tons of this unique steel from our pilot plant to our fossil-free steel partners. And the next step so will be to scale it. And so we are currently building so an electrical arc furnace in Oxelösund plant, which will go into production in 2026. And so we will be able to produce and to melt so around 1.7 million tons of emission-free steel coming from both either from scrap-based material with SSAB Zero or hybrid technology with SSAB fossil-free steel. This is a very exciting journey and I would say an important step for SSAB because so we will be soon be able to have a complete emission value chain from the iron ore to the steel. And also it will give a competitive advantage to our partners, such as Manitou, in making so our industry more sustainable.
Thank you very much. That's a great partnership.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Well, this is wonderful what innovation can do. Thank you so much, Huy, for sharing this. Will this be a breakthrough in terms of decarbonization for Manitou Group?
Yes, it's a great initiative and we need this kind of initiative to reach our low carbon pathway. And at the same time, we need to continue to work on reducing our needs in terms of resources.
You're right, Aude. And to continue on this way, let's see another example to advance our industry towards sustainability is reconditioning. That's why we will hear our dealer, Wef Gabelstapler, one example of our dealers in Germany.
Bonjour Victoria, bonjour Franck. Since the beginning of the company, one of our most important tasks has been to professionally recondition used machines and put them back into circulation as quality second-hand machines. Today, this represents roughly about 40% of our total machine turnover. It's also an important factor in protecting the environment and reducing the waste of raw materials and resources. Over the years, Manitou has been an important partner on this journey, manufacturing high-quality machines with strong value retention. Often it's enough to replace just a few parts of a Manitou machine to give it a new use for at least another 10 years or even more. To recondition used machines, we have a dedicated workflow with high-quality gates. A process that goes from the first technical and functional assessment to the technical rework up to the new coloring. We also regularly train our technicians. Of course, customers are often skeptical about buying a used machine, but we convince them, thanks to our many years of experience in this business, our high quality standards, our process and well-trained employees, and most importantly, a high level of trust that we've built through long-term partnerships with our customers.
Thank you very much, Roland. Any comments between us?
It's a very great initiative, and you know, we are very lucky at Manitou because our machine lasts a long time, and we are already supporting our dealers all over the world to repair them, reconditioning them with our spare parts. And we are really committed to go even further in this way to extend this lifespan.
With so many, thank you, Aude, with so many examples of the different stakeholders being involved across the value chain to advance, to decarbonize, we would also love to know who you are working with in your sustainability action. So let's look at the results of the last poll. Let's see what you answered. Can we have them on screen? All right, so 38% said you were working with suppliers, so big majority. Customers as well, 33%. Investors, 15%, and about 13%, so equal universities.
What does it mean for you when you see this kind of repartition between the different stakeholders? Who wants to give a word?
Very interesting to see that this is quite spread across all the stakeholders with a strong focus on the value chain. So working all along the value chain from suppliers to customers and all the value chain of suppliers and customers is a key driver to adapt and change the value chain.
Yes, and clearly you're not alone. Everybody's involved in bringing the value chain together. It takes a village to build a sustainable business in these times of uncertainty, as Virginie said. So we finish and we'll conclude with a rallying cry. Let's come together. After all we've said today, what is your one ask or one message, Aude, Hervé, Michel, to those watching and listening? Aude, would you like to start?
Yes, I would like to share one message for our employees. So you can be the best ambassadors of our approach. So let's all wear proudly our CSR glasses and let's innovate together.
Wonderful. Hervé?
I will talk to our clients. Let's partner, let's dare, let's transform in order to go in directions with new business models. And also to suppliers, we've seen that they are key in our transformation in order to innovate, less raw material, more circularity, so plenty of things to build together.
Yes, transform together. And Michel?
Yes, we have seen a great initiative, great step forward that we are making with collaborating with all the supply chain. We spoke about eco-design, about fossil-free steel, about nearly 20% of recycled steel, about electric machine we're launching, hydrogen we're working on, and we presented prototypes. So many initiatives, but the journey is a very long one. We can see it. So let's share it. If you have any idea, if you have any solution, let's share, let's work together. And yes, let's come together. together we'll make it.
Wonderful, thank you all. And to come together, Frank, how do we do it?
Yes,
What's
if
next?
you have any question or suggestion, don't hesitate to send it at the following address, and it will be a pleasure to answer your demand.
Absolutely, send a message to Frank and the team. And Frank, it's been a pleasure to co-host this with you. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for being here on this very, very sunny day in Nantes. It's been quite challenging, but we thank you all for coming today.
Thank you very much. It's our pleasure, Vic. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for our guests for your speech. Thank you, the audience, and thank you all of you who are watching online. And see you next year for the next edition of On the Web. Merci à tous.
Merci beaucoup.